You are listening to the E2C Network, where the Auburn family speaks.
We're the Auburn family, and welcome back to Inside the Jungle, your source for Auburn men's basketball analysis and discussion on the E2C Network. And we have another W to talk about today. Really excited to continue talking about all these W's. Your Tigers improved to 9-1 after their home victory against the North Alabama Lions by the score of 70-44. Big win for the Auburn Tigers today. And we move on and we get closer and closer to SEC season. And to do that, I brought in my dad and co-host. Dad, how are you?
I'm doing great. Again, fun to get a win. All wins are good wins, even though the first half was not the prettiest win in the world. It's fun to let Stephen Pearl get out there and coach somebody other than sixth grade boys. And that was his last coaching stint.
Yeah.
And he said he was worried that his dad would break the rules and call him and tell him how bad he was doing at halftime. So, but I tweeted out, I said, whatever Steven said at halftime of that game, he needed to bottle and use it. Let Coach Pearl, Bruce Pearl, use it because they went into the halftime up 3, I guess it was, and did not end up winning by 3.
Yeah.
So it was a good finish to the game. Not a real good, they were up 5 at halftime.
Yep.
Sorry. But anyway, it was a good game to watch. So.
Yeah, just like you said earlier, a win is a win. It was a slow start offensively in the first half. You know, we were watching it together, and I just think it was just, we were struggling to get a shot down. We were struggling to find the bucket at a time. And we found ways and areas to get the ball and guys to get the ball to kind of get off of that little stint that we had, and we pushed the lead out to 30, and they scored 2 late baskets to push it back to 26. But you know, this was a dominating second half performance by Auburn.
It was a very good second half performance, and I know that North Alabama isn't gonna blow your socks off, but I don't think they're as bad of a team as some people may have thought. Again, not they're not going to go to a tournament or anything, but they gave us a good test at home in the first half. They were physical. Mm-hmm. They played well. Give credit to them and their scout on us, because they seemed to know what we were trying to do, and they were doing their best to stop it. And for the first half, they did. Look, they were never going to win. We out athleted them and about out everything them.
Yeah,
but it was a little nerve wracking in the first half, a little frustrating, but that's all right.
Yeah, just like you said, like win's a win. Tough first half performance for Auburn. As I just like we said earlier, I think it was struggles to make a shot, but I said we found guys and found ways to get the ball in the basket at the times we need. We were on a good run in the second half where my man Walker Kessler was getting the ball every single time down the floor. And he was the difference maker. And then Devin Cambridge played one of his best games, one of his most efficient games, as he went 4 of 5 from the field with 2 of 2 from 3 and 3 of 4 from the free throw line.
Stop. Say that thing about the 3-point range again.
2 of 2 from 3. That's really good.
Devin, dude, you were playing lights out the last 3 or 4 games.
And that dunk was absolutely
stupid.
That was unbelievable.
We'll talk about that one.
Yeah,
that was spectacular.
We will. But let's talk about Walker for a second. And I think we got a little bit of what we thought we were going to get when we got a transfer, former 5-star center that went to North Carolina, played for a year, and then came to Auburn. I think we saw a few nights ago what we thought we were getting, especially on the offensive end.
On the offensive end, when you've got a guy that I'm yelling at the TV, if he doesn't touch the ball every time down the floor, there's something wrong with our offense. And they force fed him for the first about 10 minutes of the second half, and there was nobody on that team that is going to guard him. Yeah. He has a tendency sometimes to bring the ball down a little bit, which he'll work on and get better at keeping the ball high. He needs to go and watch some Kevin McHale film. But other than that, when he gets the ball in there and they're trying to guard him with a 6'8" guy or a 6'9" guy, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, Walker Kessler.
Dominant.
That's right. He was dominant there, especially in that little run where we were just feeding him the ball every single time. He's had like 6 or 8 straight points. Kessler goes 14 points, 6 of 8 from the field, 8 rebounds. I think he had 3 or 4 blocks as well. It's, Walker's always going to make that big time rim protecting impact on the defensive end. It's just so long.
Again, it was in the second half. No, maybe it was in the first half because it was in front of the Auburn bench. And they threw it into the low post, and Walker played behind him. And the kid turned around and just tried to shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't pump fake. He didn't make a move. He just turned and tried to shoot it. And that's not going to end well for most players.
Yeah.
Also about Kessler there, let's not forget, he went 2 of 3 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
Walker's not a good free throw shooter. 2 of 3, I'll take that from him every game. So yeah, he played well.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about 2 guys who we talked about 2 guys that I think, at least for our perspective, I think I was most impressed with Devin and Walker tonight. But let's talk about the 2 guys that also filled up the stat sheet. Wendell Green Jr., 3 for 8 from 3, 6 assists, 3 boards. He had 12 points. That's coming off the bench. I said it in the last podcast. It's the greatest. It's the best move that these coaches have made. Getting him off the bench, letting him see the game, letting him see the flow of the game before he's able to get into the action has helped him so much.
Here's a question. Now that he's coming off the bench and playing well, remember when he was starting and they switched and they brought KD in, they brought KD in to get instant offense.
Yeah.
Now we look at this and you look, and KD had 4 points, 0 of 4 from 3, 2 of 9 from the field, 4 rebounds. Do you go back? Do you switch him back?
I don't think so. I really like Wendell being able to see the floor, see the flow of the game. I also like the ability to have a true point guard coming off the bench like that, because if you put, you switch KD's not a true point guard, and now you've got 2 true point guards in your starting lineup. And I don't see how that helps. I don't see how that helps Devin. I don't see how that helps Jalen when he comes back, which we hope he is back Saturday. I don't see how that would help a guy like Chris Moore, Dylan Cardwell. I think those guys would need Wendell as well.
So here's my thought. When Flanagan gets healthy, do you put Flanagan in the starting lineup and take KD out? And that way you've got Jasper and Flanagan ball handling, and Jabari, because he's a ball handler too. Yeah. And then you've got Green and KD coming in that second group.
Yeah, I wouldn't
mind that.
I wouldn't mind that at all. I also wouldn't mind seeing KD, Zep, and Allen out there at the same time and letting Devin come off the bench. But the way Devin's playing right now, I don't know how you put anybody on the bench right now.
For what it's worth, that was my thought is maybe Devin is actually playing a little bit better than KD right now. Look, KD on the defensive end gives you so much, but I don't know that you can really distinguish him and Devin on that end.
Oh yeah.
And right now I don't have a problem with KD. When he takes it to the basket, he's going to the free throw line or he's going to make it. He's really struggled the last couple games shooting it from 3. And I'd like to see that come back. I know it will. Yeah. I know it will. He's going to have a 18, 20 point game probably against St. Louis this week. And I'm going to look like an idiot for wanting to put him on the bench. But I've got to give Cambridge his love. He has changed the way he lets the game come to him a little bit more. He's not panicking when he's shooting the 3. It's all in rhythm, and 2 for 2. Again, you can't get better.
You can't ask for better from Devin Cambridge. I completely agree, and that was what that's what people have been asking from Devin is efficiency, shooting the ball from outside, because we know he's a great defender. He can jump out of the gym. He's a great rebounder. He's a pretty good passer, and we just want him to consistently shoot from outside,
and keep him
on the floor. And that's what he's shown us the past few games. Yeah, and I'm all for it. But let's talk about Stone Cold Killer. Every podcast we just take a certain amount of time just to talk about Jabari Smith because might as well, he's not going to have him to talk about, until the NBA draft episode when he goes first overall. And I mean, not a great shooting night from Jabari. I think he would tell you that. I think he'd tell you that he played one of his worst games. But you look at 13 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. 2 of 5 from 3 is not terrible. 3 or 4 from the free throw line. He's a killer. He's a killer. No matter if he thinks he played bad or no matter if we win or lose, no matter what, the dude is going to put stats on the board and he's going to look like a pro doing it.
He did not play according to his standards very well. Again, you look back in the days of Tony Barbee and Jeff Lebo and some of those guys. And if you had a player that scored 13 points, had 10 boards, we'd be jumping up and down and excited about it. But Jabari would tell you I didn't play very well.
Yeah.
He at South Florida that day. He didn't have a real good shooting game in that time either. And he tweeted out, "That's my bad. It's on me," which it wasn't. But I think he probably feels the same way after this game. He didn't play to his best, but again, he's a guy that could go to St. Louis on Saturday and put 25, 30 on him.
Yeah.
And not think twice about it because he'll start making those
15-foot
jumpers and those threes.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey Auburn fans, I want to take a quick timeout from this episode to bring your attention to something very special. Here at the E2C Network, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best content for Auburn fans out there. And best of all, it's free to you. But just because it's free doesn't mean there aren't costs, especially when you have a library of hundreds of podcasts, videos, blogs, and more. Many of you have reached out and asked how you can support this network in the past. Well, now I have your answer. It's called the E2C Network Booster Club over at patreon.com/E2C Network. There you'll find a membership monthly reward system where you can sign up for as little as $1 and get different perks at different tiers. Some of those perks include things such as apparel, eligibility to join us on future podcasts, recognition as an E2C Network booster, exclusive communications, and bonus content that is available nowhere else. If you love this network and want to help us keep producing podcasts like this one, please head on over to patreon.com/E2C Network to join the E2C Network Booster Club. You can also get there by going to our website, e2cnetwork.com/support. Whether you decide to join or not, we are still so appreciative that you would support us by just listening and being here because each and every one of you is part of our E2C Network family. Well, that's it. Timeout's over. Let's get back into the episode.
Well, let's talk about the defense in this game. We talked a lot about the offense. I know, just like you said earlier, North Alabama is not going to be a team that you are expecting to see in March or you're scared about or you're anything like that because I don't know how good this North Alabama team will end up being. They sure looked competitive in the first half. But we hold them to 29% from the field, 24% from 3. They only shot 3 free throws in the game, which I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if
2
that's
3 from the line.
But they had one player go for 5 for 18 from the field. They had one player go 2 for 9, then 2 for 8, then 1 for 4, and then 0 for 4, and then
they didn't shoot.
They didn't shoot the ball really well, especially in the second half. They only scored 17 points. You hold a team with 17 points in the second half, you are going to win.
Yeah,
especially when you got guys
Absolutely.
like Jabari and Devin shooting 3, you're going to win the game. But they committed 18 turnovers. We caused 18 turnovers, and it was a really good defensive performance. I say it almost every podcast. Zeb Jasper is one of the best defenders I've ever watched. Him and KD together, which is why I said I would love to see KD, Zep, and Allen when Allen Flanagan comes back and started to get more of a groove. I don't know. Zep and KD, they're the most aggressive but the most clean defenders I've ever watched.
Zep is that type of guy that when he's on your team, you love him, but opposing fan bases are going to hate him and KD.
Oh yeah,
because they're going to be all over their guys.
Yeah, and
they were all over this team, and again, you kind of feel for North Alabama because look, they're playing a lot. They play Mississippi State to open the season. They played us. They're going to Gonzaga Let me say that again. They're going to Gonzaga.
Yeah.
So give them credit. When they actually play in their conference, they're going to go, wow, these guys are slow and short.
Yeah.
We're going to kill people. So give them credit. They played well, but yeah, you hold the team to 17 points and a half. You're doing something right.
That's right.
And let's talk about rebounding real quick. We were getting out rebounded in the first half, and I tweeted out, I think that'll change in the second half.
We did.
And it did. We were getting out rebounded by 5 in the first half, and we ended up getting out rebounded them by 10. So that's a 15-point swing. It's one of those things. I think you bottle that halftime speech, because we were a different team after halftime. We looked sluggish in the first half. We did not in the second half, especially on the defensive end.
You're right. You're absolutely right. This is a good win. Tigers improved to 9-1 on the year. In their 10th game, Stephen Pearl ties Wes Flanagan for the best percentage as an Auburn head coach at 100%. Each of them 1-1. Awesome. And but we will see Bruce back on the sidelines. I'm sure guys will play hard for Saturday. We play at St. Louis on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Central Time on the 18th of December.
Gonna have to get a nap before that one.
That's right. I don't know like what the deal is with these late games. You know, we were watching the late game, you know, on Tuesday, and Alabama also played a late game, which
they lost.
They lost to Memphis.
They lost
that out.
to an AAU team.
To a complete AAU team being coached by an NBA All-Star. But which we did not lose to last year. I just want to say, just get that out of the way. We won that game. But yeah, we go to St. Louis. The St. Louis team is not bad. I think you see the St. Louis team in March. It's a good St. Louis team. We played them 2 years ago, I believe, right?
2 or 3.
I think we played them in Birmingham 2 or 3 years ago, and we beat them then. But this is a different St. Louis. They've got a guard that's averaging about 17 points a game. This is not going to be a washover game. And I think Auburn will come prepared. I think Auburn will come, energetic, ready to play for their head coach being back on the sideline. Hopefully, news breaks soon that we start seeing Allen maybe get a few minutes. He's full contact practicing.
Yeah, he's practicing.
So maybe we get to break that before SEC play starts a little bit. I would
like for them to get him in before. And again, this is my personal thought. I want him to get in and get acclimated before we throw him into the LSU game. Yeah, which, by the way, is going to be a tough.
LSU's really good.
The coach at St. Louis, Travis Ford, was a pretty good player in his own right. He's a kid he was one of those kids that could shoot from anywhere. And used to coach at Oklahoma State. He's a good head coach. He knows what he's doing. Like Bruce says, they'll run good stuff. They'll shoot. They've had a little bit of an up and down time here. That UAB went up there and beat them. UAB is pretty darn good
last week. Yeah.
And
Jamal Johnson represent.
Jamal, good job, Jamal. Proud of you, brother. So I think it'll be a good test for Auburn. Probably won't be the best team we've played, but it'll be one of the best ones.
I agree. This is one of the biggest non-conference tests, especially away from Auburn Arena. I think this is a good opportunity for Auburn to start rolling before they get into the SEC, because you start the SEC with a dog fight.
Yeah, you do. Because if you win this one and then you beat Murray State, who's also a very good team coming into Auburn Arena next week. Yeah. If you can beat those two and you go 11-1 in this preseason, I think you're setting yourself up to have a pretty good year.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fewer losses than the team from the west side of the state. So
who? Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But we'll be back to discuss that later this weekend. And player of the game. You're right. Let's do. All right, I know you go first.
All right, my player of the game is the guy that I was screaming about. Feed him the basketball every time down the floor. Walker Kessler ended up with 14 points, 8 boards. I'd like to have seen him get a couple more boards there.
Jabari was stealing them
to get his double-double. Yeah, Jabari stole them from him. But he played like I want him to play.
Yeah,
he was strong. He was aggressive. He has a tendency to bring the ball down a little bit, like I was talking about earlier. But if he can learn to keep the ball up, there's nobody that's going to reach up and take it from him. And when he was getting the ball near the basket in this game, he was dunking the basketball.
Yeah,
that was the problem. It's still a problem for us. We talked about it in the last podcast. We miss a lot of 2-foot shots, a lot of layups. We missed a bunch of layups in this game.
Yeah,
we'd have won by 50 if we make our layups, and they're layups. So we're gonna have to get stronger at doing those. But Walker came out and look, Walker looked at the other team and went, "I'm bigger, stronger. I can jump better than anybody on that team.
That's right.
It's time for me to take over the game." And in the second half, we force-fed him, and he came through again. Big time game, 14 points, 8 boards.
That's
Walker
right.
Kessler's my player of the game.
Very excited for Walker. He really did play well, and I think that's one of those games where we talk about coming out party a lot. I think right there is what we showed that's what we got from North Carolina. That's the guy we wanted. That's the guy that we went out and got in the transfer portal.
Yeah,
I will go on record right now and say that if Devin Cambridge shoots perfect from 3, we will win every single game that he does. Has he ever done that? I don't know. He may have went 1 for 1 in his freshman year.
But a lot of times when he gets so hot like that, he just keeps shooting and shooting and he only shot it twice from 3, but he made both of them that were perfect.
They were great shots. And that dunk, highlight reel type of dunk. It's dunk of the year type candidate dunk, but both reverse. That was unbelievable. A great look ahead pass, a great outlet, and
he actually kind of rocked it too before he dunked it. Yeah. So he kind of rocked it and then threw it backwards over his head. And I thought he was going to break his back.
Yeah,
it was Sports Center top 10. I think it was third on the same night that Steph Curry broke the record. So very cool. Great job, Devin Cambridge. How many rebounds did he get? 5 rebounds.
5 boards. Yeah.
He can get more than that. People stop stealing them from him.
I agree. Jabari needs to stop stealing all the rebounds. We'll be back to discuss. Game. 9-1. Very excited. Great win. Look ahead to St. Louis. And we'll come back to discuss that later this weekend. And you can go ahead and do it. Do what you always do.
I am CTO. I've been putting out there a couple times that I want to know who's everybody's player of the game so I can get some ideas. Yeah. And AU Superfan, I think, was this week mentioned Kessler, and so give him a hat tip. That was the right play.
That's right.
With Kessler.
Yeah, so you kind of stole. That's okay. You can find me on Twitter at Gray Oldenburg or on Instagram at Grayo21. And until later this weekend, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on the E2C Network. On your way out, I want to remind you to stop by e2cnetwork.com. It's your one-stop shop for all our content across our podcast, YouTube channel, and much more. To stay up to date with us, make sure you're following social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While our content here may always be Auburn sports heavy, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. War Eagle.